Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome back to AGBCars with another video here. I'm Aaron Bell and we have a video here previewing the Chinese Grand Prix of 2015. So, China, round 3 of the Formula 1 World Championship this year. It is a relatively new track, the first Grand Prix being held in 2004 and then has been on the calendar ever since. The track itself, I don't particularly like it. It's not a bad track, I suppose, but it's kind of one of those tracks where if it was taken off the calendar, I wouldn't be too disappointed. The track itself, the event here has been under some pressure and stress ever since it started being an F1 race, really. It does have a contract until the end of 2017, but the event makes a loss every single year. And I suppose reason being for that is that the track itself is so huge, and when it was built in 2004, it cost €240 million to build, and they haven't made anything like that back yet from any of the Grand Prix held there. And it's so big that the crowds need to be massive to fill all the grandstands because there's so many of them and the track is just so vast. So, I mean, the only reason that we go there is because Bernie Ecclestone gets a hell of a lot of money off the event organisers and the Chinese government, who want to say that they have a Formula 1 race in their country. It's kind of sad, really, that, it is that races in F1 are controlled by which country has the money to be able to hold it rather than the best track or the best crowds or something like that. And it's a shame to see the Chinese Grand Prix on and then no German Grand Prix and no French Grand Prix and so on, because there are no Chinese drivers on the grid. There are really no up and coming Chinese racers that I am aware of. So I just feel that I feel it would be better going to a event such as Germany or France, where there are drivers coming up, where the crowd is passionate about the sport and want a Grand Prix. So that's that. If we actually start into the actual preview now of the Grand Prix, Hamilton has the best record around this track. He has won 3 races here. One of them, of course, being last year. He is the most recent winner, as well as being on pole last year. Second best driver here is Alonso with 2 Grand Prix. And so last year Mercedes kind of walked away. Well, they didn't really walk away with it. Hamilton won, Rosberg was second. But Alonso in the Ferrari was only 7 seconds or so behind Rosberg. And this year, I expect it to be quite a close race, of course, bearing in mind that Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari won our previous race in Malaysia. One of the reasons, of course, for that win was the extremely high temperatures in Malaysia. But one of Ferrari's key advantages over Mercedes is their tyre wear. The Ferrari is a lot kinder on its tyres, and so does not take as much out of them, and therefore does not have to stop as many times. And the Chinese Grand Prix is notoriously hard on the tyres. It is probably up there with Singapore in the most demanding race on the tyres. So that bodes well for Ferrari, and although the temperatures will not be as high, I do expect Ferrari to run Mercedes quite close. Maybe not as close as Malaysia, but certainly not far off them. Um, yeah, so I expect the Mercedes to be first and second. I would have to put my money on Hamilton if I was asked to win the Grand Prix. Then the two Ferraris would be third and fourth, bearing in mind no reliability issues or anything like that. Then I suppose Williams will be fifth and sixth, because I suppose now in F1, like, the grid is really, really divided into groups, because Mercedes are out there at the top. Then Ferrari are by far the second best. Like, Williams, who are third best, are way off Ferrari, but then everyone behind Williams are way behind them. So it is quite spread out, and behind Williams I would put Toro Rosso, and then kind of Red Bull on a par with Sauber and Lotus, depending on the day. And then I suppose down the bottom would be Force India, McLaren, and Manor. And Force India are kind of in a hard spot now, because they are effectively running a development of the 2014 chassis, and they had originally planned to bring in the updated one quite early on, but now that's been postponed to Austria. So Force India are another team struggling quite heavily with money and finance. But then behind them, I would put them ahead of McLaren and Manor. Yeah, and hopefully we'll see McLaren and Manor finish this race course. Roberto Merhi finished the Malaysian Grand Prix, so hopefully he'll be able to do that again, as will the McLaren drivers who failed to finish in Malaysia. So that's the preview. My podium prediction would be Hamilton for the win, Rosberg behind him in second, and then for the final podium position I would say Sebastian Vettel again. So that's what I think. And then for pole position I would have to say Hamilton again, just because he is the faster driver than Rosberg, full stop. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thanks very much for listening here. Subscribe to the AGBCars channel to stay up to date. Like this video if you found it informative or amusing, or any way, shape or form good. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye.